So I'm making a bit of a government rant here, and this is the Indonesian government, but might apply to all governments, because the bureaucracy recently left my wife, defeated and in tears. And there's really no one to complain to. There's no one to contact to complain to. You can't even rate the place on Google Maps because reviews aren't allowed. And I have noticed that reviews for certain government buildings are disabled, probably because of the negative reviews they would get. So we went to get a police clearance certificate, basically a police report about whether I've committed any crimes. We need to get one for my wife as well. This is a common requirement for immigration, healthcare jobs, security jobs, finance jobs. I think I've done about 8 of these before and in 3 different countries, and I haven't had an issue before. Now, we read on the website what we required, and we had prepared everything. And we knew it was going to be a big day because we had a few locations to go to, and we're not that close to downtown Jakarta. So we knew we'd be taking 2-hour taxi rides. So it was about an 8-hour round trip, and we were unsuccessful. And the preparations. Let's talk about some of these preparations. Why did we have to get our fingerprints at the local station and, with ink and everything, and then go ourselves to the regional police station? And why with ink? That's so archaic. And also, why did we have to take and print our own pictures and print out a whole bunch of copies, we ordered a whole bunch of copies printed beforehand to hand them pictures of us? At immigration, they digitally took my photo and fingerprints. I guess the police system is more archaic and they don't possess the technology of the webcam, which is what the immigration system used to take my picture. That was it. And the one weird thing was I needed to have Anita sponsor my application. Okay. Well, if I wasn't married to Anita with no sponsor, are you saying they wouldn't give me a police report? Why would they make it more difficult than it needs to be? In Canada and in the Cayman Islands, you can just order police reports online even. What's the worst thing could happen if they made it easy? So yeah, spent 8 hours going to and from police stations for a police report, and we didn't succeed because the person working the kiosk told her some bullshit extra requirements that aren't on the website and don't make any reasonable sense and don't make sense to the police officer she talked to afterwards. Were they incompetent, stupid, malicious? How it should work is you show some IDs, you take fingerprints and pictures, you pay, and you get a report. They had asked her for private health insurance card. Now, she quit her job because we planned to move, and she didn't have a valid insurance card because it was tied to her job. She has her driver's license if they wanted to see a second ID, but it had to be her health card. Why? And that extra requirement was apparently because of needing to sponsor me. Again, why can't I get a police report without a sponsor? How does that make sense? In fact, as I was scouring their website, I did find it somewhere on the website saying that they won't produce police certificates for immigration purposes. I'm like, why not? Are they trying to trap people in Indonesia? But why would they write that on the website that they're not giving them out for immigration purposes? That's one of the reasons people need them. The person at the kiosk is a public servant. The government should serve the people. They should be trying to make our lives as easy as possible. Oh, you need to know whether you've been arrested? Okay, let me print that out for you. There's also a mark made on a form that we're missing, DP, but no explanation of what DP stood for. The forms were crazy too. Why do you need my sister's occupation and address to tell me whether I've been arrested or not? Why do you need to know my hobbies? In the end, we did get the police certificates, but we got them through asking help from police officer friends of friends. But it shouldn't have to be that way. If we didn't have police officer friends of friends, I was considering, how are we supposed to bribe? How are you supposed to get a police certificate? Now, another issue is the marriage certificate. I married an Indonesian. Now, if you're marrying an Indonesian, every foreigner has to get a prenup. They don't tell you that. You have to sort of look that up online. And you need to get a prenup because of the interaction between 2 sets of rules. Foreigners can't own property, and all assets become shared after marriage. So if you own property or ever want to own property, you have to have a prenup that says property ownership will stay separate. And it has to be a prenup. Sucks for you if you didn't know this and you got married because you can't do the paperwork afterwards. Anyways, so we got the prenup. And it was a bit tricky to find someone. As soon as people here heard that a foreigner prenup, all of a sudden the price went up by a factor of 10. But we got a prenup for a reasonable price, and we got married. Now, after the ceremony, we had to travel to the village where she was born, despite none of her family actually living there, because you have to file the paperwork in the village where you grew up. So we traveled to the middle of nowhere and get the paperwork to sign, and Anita notices that the prenup number isn't referenced on the certificate, which she was told it should be there. The mayor said, don't worry about that. It was his first time ever having a prenup involved. No, don't worry, I'll take care of that. Don't worry. But you know what? That was a mistake. And in the end, she had to take a train. It took her a couple days to get this sorted because she had to go all the way back just to fix this paperwork. It couldn't have been fixed over fax or email. And I have to print out new forms. And couldn't the administrator try to figure out another way to do it that could save her days? But government officials don't think about those things. Oh, it was a mistake. You have to do all the work because of my mistake. Government officials. Now, we can talk a little bit about the visas and the stay permit situation here as well. And I'll talk about the digital tourist visa versus the paper tourist visa. And the digital one is fairly new. Now, I ended up trying the paper one when I couldn't figure out how to get my second digital one. I was doing visa runs where I would fly to Singapore for a couple hours and then fly back to get another tourist visa. Waste of my carbon footprint, waste of jet fuel, waste of time, waste of money. But that's just what you have to do to renew a visa, because both the digital and the paper one, they're for 30 days, but can be extended up to for a second 30 days. But after that, you have to leave the country and then come back in. And it's an island, so there's no way to leave the country and come back in except to fly. Now, with the paper tourist visa, if you want to renew, you have to leave your passport with them for a few days. You have to get your fingerprints taken and photos taken, and you have to fill out some additional forms. Now, the digital one, if you want to extend for that 30 days, you go to the website and you click a button, and that's it. Now, they're in the process of redoing the immigration system and making it smoother and more digital, but why have such a discrepancy in requirements at the same time? If you're going to scrap the fingerprint requirements for the digital one, why not also scrap them for the paper one at the same time? Now, also, when I was trying to get my spouse visa, we were told to use a certain website. We went in person to check to make sure that it was the correct website. We messaged many times asking if we were doing things correctly, like taking screenshots. And weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks go by, and it was the wrong website, and we were doing it wrong. And there was a new website that they didn't know about that the people were talking to. Again, maybe I'll forgive the office workers since the system is in the process of change, but ends up just being a terrible user experience because there's no incentive for the government to improve and government workers to improve. They have the best jobs and they're not competing with other businesses. There's just no incentive. Anyways, thank you for listening to my rant. Cheers.